They cut me loose with a message that didn't even ask for a reply. My father's steady baritone on speaker. "You're out of the firm, Arya. Don't call." I answered with a single word. Understood. I sat on the edge of my narrow bed, phone screen still glowing, the city noise pressing against the window. 8 weeks earlier, I'd been the one stitching together Hale and North's real estate deals while others posed for photos. Now I was a deleted file. Cole, my older brother with the spotless cufflinks, got promoted the same afternoon I was erased. Mom texted, "Hope you understand. It's for the best." For whom? I had spent years trading weekends for balance sheets, birthdays for due diligence, learning every circuit the money ran. When Dad pushed a string of off-the-books condo plays, I said no. That one syllable made me a traitor. I didn't scream, didn't plead. I opened my laptop. Not to blow them up, not yet. To build the thing I'd sketched on napkins between board meetings. My own shop, clean, lean, and mine. I had copies of everything. Audit trails, side letters, the messes I'd mopped without applause. Insurance, I told myself, not revenge. Days blurred, code in the morning, calls at night, coffee cooling untouched. I became a ghost with a spreadsheet, a signature that meant I would not vanish. 14 months like that. Then a new voicemail arrived. Cole's voice frayed. "Arya, the IRS is circling." So they needed the woman they'd unmade. I closed my eyes and said nothing. I had begun again. I rented a tiny office above a florist where the air smelled like rinsed stems. Light slid across the floorboards, and I laid out my plan in squares of tape. Clients, filings, deadlines, contingencies. No ghosts here, just me, a kettle, and walls I could answer to. By noon, a knock. Not Cole. A woman with hair and a camera bag, Ria Voss, freelance investigator. She'd followed a paper trail from one of Dad's shell bidders to a bank in Belize and wanted corroboration. I didn't confess. I negotiated. If she'd help me trace the public money siphoned from a waterfront school rebuild, I'd show her where to look without burning my fingerprints. We mapped pathways between contractors and family-owned LLCs with identical typos in their articles. I called 3 former analysts who still believed in my judgment, and they joined after hours under pseudonyms. We didn't gossip, we graphed. A construction manager, gray at the temples, met me in a diner and slid over photocopies of altered invoices. He didn't want revenge, only honesty on the next project his daughter would walk past every day. I promised process, not miracles. At midnight, I returned to the florist. Beneath the lilies, the landlord kept keys. One opened the storage crawl space where I hid the printouts no subpoena had yet learned to pronounce. I labeled every folder: return, amend, indict, heal. Tomorrow I'd file a tip to the city controller and offer my firm for cleanup. I went home smelling of petals and toner, and for the first time in months, I slept. At 8 the next morning, I filed the controller tip and attached a roadmap. Vendor chains, invoice edits, the Belize branch, the school that never got its library. By noon, I was in a glass room facing the city's chief auditor and 2 prosecutors who listened more than they spoke. I didn't barter names for mercy. I offered process, timelines, and a plan to unwind contracts without freezing the build. They accepted my proposal on the condition I'd supervise remediation as an independent. Ria documented every step, withholding anything that would compromise the work. Facts, not fireworks. When subpoenas finally landed, Dad called once. "You did this." I answered, "You did this." Then I hung up. Cole arrived at my office alone, sleeves rolled. He knew the IRS questions I'd refused to answer would land harder on him. "Can you help the city and still spare the people who only signed what they were told?" I said yes, if they told the truth. He did. For 12 weeks, we rebid the schoolwork, tracked refunds, replaced a shadow bidder with a union crew that finished the foundation before winter. I signed off on clean draws and returned the first check to the controller's fund with a letter. "This is what repair looks like." Ria's piece ran the day the library framing went up. It named the scheme, not my family. The firm I built, Northbridge Civic, took its first official client that afternoon, a neighborhood clinic. I bought a second kettle for the office. When the ribbon was cut, children ran inside. I stayed on the sidewalk, breathing the dust of something honest beginning now.